Well, good morning, everybody. This is Scott MacMeans with Action Coach SBL, and we are on the Business Spotlight. Today, we are honored to have Ted Stroie from Ninja Dispatch. He's going to join us, tell us a little bit about his story, his success, and what Ninja Dispatch can do for you. So, with that, Ted, please introduce yourself to the group.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ted Stroie. I'm the owner and the founder of Ninja Dispatch. It's a business that I started in 2018. What we do is we offer a variety of different truck dispatch services for semi trucks, ranging from single owner operators to entire carrier fleets that are in need of night dispatch. So the whole way that I got my start in this business is being Romanian and being born in an immigrant family in Cleveland, Ohio. There's a lot of truck drivers, and it's something that I noticed going to church. I would just see a lot of truck drivers coming in with very nice cars. So I just realized, okay, that's probably a good business being a Romanian since so many people were in it, but never really got my feet wet in truck dispatching. And I ended up moving back to Romania in 2013. And my sister actually bought a truck in that time with her husband, who is the priest now at the church in Cleveland. And they were driving the truck, and my sister got pregnant, and she said, "Ted, I can't do it anymore. Please help my husband dispatch." So I jumped in and started dispatching, and then got four more trucks under my belt, and just really liked it. I worked with this company, a family friend based out of Cleveland, and working from Romania, it was a really good little business to run, but it wasn't a business yet. And around 2018, I came up with the idea of starting my own dispatching company because I worked with so many trucks that the truck drivers always said to me, like, "You're the best. You're so good with us. You know exactly what you're doing." I worked with a different company, and that company also said to me that they begged me to not leave. And when they did that, it kind of just clicked in my head, like, wait a second, maybe I'm actually kind of good at this. So that brought upon the idea of opening up my own dispatching company. Basically, I opened it to just work by myself. And rather than apply to work with people or work with somebody and say, "Yeah, I'm Ted Stroie," I felt like it was better to be represented by a company. So that was the whole idea behind opening the business.
That's a pretty good story. I mean, running a business, a successful business from across the globe is, I would assume, not an easy task. So, what is it that you attribute your success to date? What makes it different with Ninja Dispatch than any other company? And what is it that you bring to the table that allows it to happen that way?
Well, my success personally, I would say, being America is a place that's very unforgiving. So you get out of college and you have a lot of debt. So you have to just jump right into a job to start paying off the debt that you have. You have a mortgage, you have a car payment, all this stuff. So being Romanian and living in Romania, which yes, it's in Eastern Europe, but it is not what people think it is. It's a very nice place to live, very technologically advanced. It gave me the breathing room when I started my company to not be stressed out about money and payments because the salary and the amount of money that you need here to live is not so high. So my success came, that being said, that gave me the breathing room to really focus and spend those years to learn how to dispatch really well without being pressed for anything. And I always had these ideas in my head and these principles of doing business because I studied marketing at Kent State University in Cleveland or in Kent. And I knew how to make websites really good. And I worked doing SEO. So my success is attributed to being learning my craft, my trade, my service that I offer, learning it really, really well. And then really good marketing, good branding, good website, good SEO, have all the bases covered. So that was kind of my idea. And like my main principle was that, when I would go to market, I want to already know when a client or a potential lead would say, "I'm interested," I already have to have everything set up like from A to Z. It wouldn't be just like cold call or talk to somebody. And then, oh wow, the client wants to sign up. What do I do? What's the next step? So it's having everything thought out ahead of time. If you do good marketing, present yourself very well, because as they say, just like in real life, first impressions mean everything. If you do that and offer a good service, I think that anybody could be successful at what they do, as long as there's a need for it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Very good summary of what you've done. Again, marketing, branding, it all seems to work out real well for you. I'm curious about the time zone difference. If I'm understanding you correctly, Ninja Dispatch does night dispatch. Is that what you said? So the time difference, how does that relate to your daily work versus the workload at nighttime, which is in the United States?
It's actually quite amazing. And well, it's amazing on a couple of different fronts. The first front was, being a young guy living in Europe, it was cool to wake up. Like our time difference is 7 hours. So at 8 a.m. in America, it was 3 p.m. here. So that's perfect because you're done by like midnight, and especially truck dispatching, if you get all the trucks loaded, you're pretty much you don't have a lot to do the rest of the day. So it was very nice to have my mornings free. Uh, and people love it. Like the employees we have here, they love it because obviously they have their whole morning free at 3 p.m. They start working. But on the flip side of that, as the company started to grow over the years, we attracted carrier companies that have like over 100, 150 trucks, from 60 trucks upwards. And they contacted us to help them with their night dispatch, which that was, as I said, I did all the marketing on my site and I just had all these ideas. Okay, I can offer this service, this service, this service. And night dispatch was one of the services. And it's the beauty about that is that when it's midnight in America or like in Cleveland and it's midnight, everybody's going to bed and they're yawning. Here it's 7 o'clock in the morning. So after years of working from 3 until midnight, I had assembled a team already that like our main niche for that type of dispatching was car hauling. So when those cars, the guys that you see hauling cars, that's what we do and what we specialize in is hauling. That's how we got our growth. And then a few years ago, we started getting clients, like I said, in night dispatch. And the time difference is what sets us apart from everybody else because not only do we have experienced dispatchers that know how to dispatch, but we are completely awake. So I would challenge any American-based night team against mine because it doesn't matter who you are. I mean, any person that knows their worth and uh, is a good worker, they don't want to work the night shift. They want to work the day shift. They want to work a normal shift, And here in Romania, the proficiency of English is extremely high. It's literally at the sarcasm level. Like that's how well they speak English. They understand American sarcasm. That coupled with the time zone and that they're waking up at 7, they're just working from 7 till 3 p.m. So from midnight until 8 o'clock in the morning, it's been super advantageous because the funny thing is that obviously when we were working the night shift, we speak to other night shifts, right? So it's like we represent a company, on that company, we represent their name. But when you speak to different brokers or clients or customers, you speak to another night shift person. And every time you speak to somebody that's from America, you can just hear them yawning. They're like yawning, they're tired, they're not very concentrated. So I'd say the time difference is one of the key elements that makes our business successful.
It sounds like, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, Ted, but it sounds like the customer experience you create is in your advantage because you're awake and you have a work-life balance that allows people to do their best work when they're during the work hours in Romania versus the night hours in the United States. Is that a way of summarizing it?
100%. And I would say in the trucking business, there's not so much attention to detail or attention to the employee and their lifestyle the way their lifestyle is affected by their work. And I believe that having happy employees and having employees that work normal hours and are not, overworked, it's huge for the growth of a business. And sustainability, I think, is more important than anything else. Like for something to be sustainable, you can make good money today, but can it be done over a long period of time? And obviously you need people for that. So having happy employees, and especially in the States and in trucking, it's a 24/7 business. Our clients,
Absolutely.
the thing that makes them happy, the people that are the happiest from the night shift service are literally their other employees, because the other employees don't have to take phone.
Yeah, that's good. So what qualities do you look for in your employees?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Sorry, there was a extreme weather alert here. There's like it's like 110 degrees outside.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
Damn.
it knocked my headphones off.
Um, I was asking about, you said happy employees, and I've got this vision of happy hour, right? Because it's just the way you explained it. Not that it's the traditional happy hour. I'm looking at it from a perspective of you're working in the hours of day when people are looking for somebody to be happy in order to help them. So that's a really interesting happy hour concept that you've created. With that in mind, how do you look for, or what is it that you look for in your employees to make sure that they fulfill the mission of Ninja Dispatch?
Hmm. Adaptiveness, I would say, because, and not just adaptiveness, but just being a, uh, this may sound very obvious, but just having common sense, because the business of dispatch and the business of logistics is not complex. I mean, it is complex, but it's, to me, it's like one of the most simplistic things ever, because it's literally a courier service, right? It's just A to B. Maybe sometimes it's A to B to C, but it's the same principle. If somebody can be adaptable to learning, and especially in today's day and age, to learning like softwares, and they know how to talk to people and they don't get stressed out in certain situations, they can detach themselves from the situations, or maybe like what a driver or a client or a broker will transmit to you via the phone. Because let's be honest, nobody makes a phone call in logistics because things are going good and they want to say thank you. They make a phone call because things are going bad. So you just have to know how to deal with that and be adaptive to different technologies, uh, different types of drivers.
Mm. The personalities would be a challenge if um, they don't align. Is that a good assessment?
Yeah, we've had people that have said with, especially with, obviously, you work in Romania, like I speak English like somebody from Ohio, but somebody from Bucharest is going to speak English with a little bit of an accent. But that's not a big deal, because we've had clients from Colorado who they have uh, like immigrants as well, but from from Mexico, or from, Latin America. They have their own accent that they speak with.
Mhm.
And we have some clients that are from the South that I even told them, I was like, I get it that you guys are American and that they're truck drivers, but I have a hard time understanding them sometimes. Like sometimes they have to repeat themselves. And yeah, the personalities, with employees, because the business, obviously, as an entrepreneur, when you start out, I didn't have capital for anything. So I had to do everything myself. So I had to go through interview processes. And, at first, the reasons that I thought would be a good idea to hire somebody, just being like somewhere and being like, my God, that guy sounds like an American speaking English and he's so good. There's way more things, way more elements that you have to look into. And it's funny because it makes me realize, like, I have a friend who's part of UiPath out here, which is a company that, like, they got started 8 years ago and now they're already listed on NASDAQ. It's like Romania's first unicorn. And when I tell him stories of my business, he's just laughing and telling me, "Oh yeah, we did the same stuff. It's the same thing." Because at the beginning, you have to do everything yourself. And when you go to see a big corporation and you see they have all these different departments, those different departments at the beginning of a company was actually probably just like one person doing everything,
Yes. Yeah,
just learning it.
100%. Yeah. Expanding your role, or shrinking your role to be more specific when you have people on your team, that's when you start seeing success,
Yeah,
right? That's awesome.
totally.
So, as the guy running the show, what are some of the misconceptions people have about a CEO or the life and times of a CEO compared to the reality of a CEO?
Well, I think it depends where you are at as a CEO, because let's say if you're at the beginning, everybody's just going to be like, I mean, let's be honest, like you look on LinkedIn, you look on Facebook, people will just write CEO, you know? So
Okay.
people will just write you off and be like, oh, he's one of those guys. But if you're, if you have some success and things are going good, you know, I've had people that have told me very nice things. And then I've had people that have said kind of rude things to me, being like, especially in today's climate where it's like anti-capitalism, they just say to me, "Oh, you're like a capitalist," and it's like, yeah, but you know, I have employees, I give them money, like I don't hold a gun to anybody's head. They have a good salary, they like it, they go on vacation with their family. Maybe they could have gotten that somewhere else, but they get it from me. And I think it's a misconception of a CEO that, you know, that especially when you have some success, that it's very like they're just so lucky, because it's not that at all. It's literally, I've spent years of my life invested in this. I did things and I said things to myself when I would wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and it'd be dark outside. And I skipped, you know, going out with friends and all that stuff. I'd wake up at 5 to start working, to set up that whole night shift. And I just said to myself, you know, because I remember somebody said that uh, a real like entrepreneur does things that other people would never do so that they can live a life like others would never live. And that's all I said to myself. And
Yeah.
at that time, I was like, yeah, that's some BS. Because look at me right now. I'm drinking a coffee. I'm like watching the sun come up. I'm on a computer. But it's true. You keep on doing it and you do it for years. I mean, repetition and just quality service, and you will prevail.
Well, if I'm doing the math, you're 7 years in, am I right? Or 6 years
No,
in?
no, no, four.
Four. I'm sorry. Yeah, you said, because I'm thinking about when you went back to Romania. Okay.
Right.
Um, so you're 4 years into an overnight success, right?
Yeah, I guess if you could call it that, an
Yeah,
overnight
but
success.
yeah, I don't think there's anything to an overnight success. People, as you've just described,
Oh yeah, sorry.
there's years of effort, right? There's years and years of effort to get to that overnight success. And when people don't see you next to them when they're out having a good time, they don't realize what you're doing. They just don't realize you're there until all of a sudden now you have CEO next to your name and you have a company that employs people and your responsibilities are growing and you're expanding the business. Then they realize, oh wow, that's what Ted was doing all that time. Well, yeah, that's how it works. So interesting question here. What advice would you give the 18-year-old Ted?
Hmm. Nothing, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
because
why nothing?
I don't know, maybe I would just say if I could talk to my 18-year-old self, I'd just say buy a bunch of Bitcoin. But that's it. Because my life, I love my life. And, you know, I always did everything I wanted. And I was born in America, right? My dad escaped communism. My mom was lucky she got out because of the fact that we had some like German family, and the communist regime at that time allowed my mom and her family to leave, and they went to Youngstown, Ohio. And my father met my mom. They're from the same village and they met in Cleveland. And I was born in Cleveland, Ohio. And when I went, so what happened is I went to Romania. And I would go as a kid, and then I just didn't go. And I was like completely American, you know? And in
Mhm.
2008, my sisters got married in the countryside in Romania. I went. It was cool, but I was like really bored. It was like 3 weeks in the countryside, cows everywhere, and there's like no air conditioning. In 2009, I came back right before I finished university. I came and I spent the summer here. And when I came back to America, I had a reverse culture shock. And I told all my Romanian friends in Cleveland that I was like, man, I'm gonna go, I think I'm gonna move to Romania. And everybody told me I was crazy. They were like, you're nuts. Why would you do that? You're crazy. Your parents came here. Why would you do something like that? So the reason I say I wouldn't change anything is because, you know, I always did whatever I wanted to do. I don't ever blame anything on anybody else except for myself. And by following what I felt was the right thing to do, even though it was completely, you know, if you were to read a book about me and it's like, Yes, Ted Stroie is born in America, Romanian immigrant. I think there's a few people that are like me that went back to Eastern Europe to live. And that decision in and of itself, although in 2013 it made zero sense, and no joke, I went from making good money in America, and right before I left, the how can I say it? It's like the universe just playing a trick on you. You know, it's like the day before I left, I was contacted by a company in Colorado to come work for them with a good salary. And I was like, I'll call you guys when I come back from Romania. Because I bought a two-way plane ticket with like 6 months. I said,
Oh,
I'll
wow.
stay for 6 months. I'll see if I make it. If I don't make it, well then I'll just come back home. Life is good anyways. Needless to say, I never left. And my first job here, I made €1,000 a month. I made like literally $1,100 a month. And I lived off that for several years. So I wouldn't give myself any advice because everything leads to where I am right now,
Yeah.
other than
That's
buy
that's
some Bitcoin.
well, let's go with that. Let's keep that one there. I love it. It's a tremendous story. If you won't give advice to the 18-year-old you, what would you give advice, or what kind of advice would you give to somebody looking to start their own business?
Get experience first of all. And
Hmm.
that's something that a lot of people said to me when I was young, and I didn't want to listen to them. But it's very beneficial. Like work for somebody else. You have time, unless work for somebody else. And it depends, I think, a lot on like like where the person comes from, right? Because like I have friends whose their father was like he was the CEO of many companies. So obviously his upbringing is way different than mine, where my dad is a sculptor. So
Yeah.
I didn't have anybody to learn from. I had to do everything kind of by myself, reading, and just work in as many different types of companies as you can, pick up as many different skills as you can, because life is kind of like that Slumdog Millionaire movie where it's like you don't know where this experience and where it's going to help you down the road, and everything really does help you. Like I was a
Yeah.
teacher in South Korea after I finished university. I went to South Korea and taught English, and I taught little kids, and that has helped me. I DJ'd in South Korea. That has helped me. I was a valet downtown in Cleveland for many years at Blue Point. That has helped me. Like everything comes together. And even this right now, that's the funny
Wow.
thing is this right now, who knows where this will help me in the future.
Yeah. The dots always seem to get connected when you're going in one direction. That's outstanding. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
It's impressive because not too many people have the opportunity to live the life that they've always wanted to live by doing the things they've always wanted to do. So a testament to you. Fantastic. Um, the last question I normally ask is about challenges. So what kind of challenges do you have in your business, or in the overall scheme? Um, what would you say is the biggest issue or thing that you have to deal with on a day-to-day basis?
Um, Working, so because we just it's the challenge is just working with so many different types of people and being flexible and moldable to different personalities, as well as because what we do is consultation basically. We are a third party that is called
Mhm.
up to assist either, like I said, an owner operator or a bigger trucking company. So when you work with the owner operator, sometimes you have to like teach them different things about business. And everybody that we work with, it's a different business. So you have to just be very adaptable, learning different businesses and the dynamics, because like, people, there's that term office drama. Okay, well, imagine you have office drama and then you work with like 20 companies, like there you have to
Yeah,
play a
that could
good,
be
yeah,
good.
it's like it's not hard. It's just that that's a challenge. It's a challenge because you have to be adaptable to different types of businesses. And I'd say a challenge now is just the economy, honestly. I don't know, like at the date that we're filming this right now, last week, Yellow, one of the biggest, like if not the biggest LTL
Yeah.
truckload carrier, just went bankrupt, and that's huge. And that has huge repercussions in the industry, and it's gonna be felt probably in a few months throughout the whole economy, because they say that the trucking industry is like the first like canary in the coal mine of the economy kind of going down.
So real quickly, walk me down that pathway for you. The coverage that you have across the United States, is it coast to coast, border to border?
Yeah, it's coast to coast, border to
Okay.
border.
So in your opinion, does that mean with yellow kind of getting out of the equation, is somebody going to backfill that, or is there going to be a void for a period of time that we're, as consumers, need to deal with another supply chain issue?
Hmm. I'm not an economist to like really know all this
Mhm.
stuff. I'm thinking the same thing, but at the same time, from my friends that, we discuss these type of things they're in different industries. It seems like, uh, consumer purchasing power, from what I understand, has kind of gone down. Like consumer interest has gone down. People are a little bit worried about buying stuff. So it makes me even a little bit wary because obviously if nobody's buying, then why are the trucks gonna be, moving around? Like again, at the time of this filming last week, GM or Ford got a huge loan from the US government for their electrical vehicles. So all these companies needing help, I don't know. It's kind of like uncharted territory. That's why, again, the word adaptability, I'm trying to be as adaptable as possible and even use it in our marketing. It's kind of like, why would you hire and train a dispatcher? Like, why don't you hire someone experienced because you don't have the money to
Yeah.
make a mistake right now?
And I think you just nailed it. People cannot afford to make mistakes right now, and that's the key to being successful, is limiting the mistakes and capitalizing on opportunities. That's going to wrap it up for us today. I really appreciate you spending this time. Your story is an exceptional one. Your success is something you should be proud of, and I look forward to hearing more and more about what it is that you do at Ninja Dispatch. So for that, I'm going to close this out and say that's another episode of the Business Spotlight. Thanks so much, Ted. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Scott.